Today's potash was used in cooking recipes. And they specifically wanted potash because it was white. They didn't want bread that looked gray for putting wood ashes in it. They wanted potash. So when you look at the old recipes from 500 years ago, they specifically asked to put potash in the recipes. And the potash was the wood ashes that came out from underneath the pot, whether it was a copper pot or a cast iron pot, because the pot reflected more heat down, and the wood ashes right underneath the pot was white. The wood ashes out in the cooler parts of the fire were gray or black. So this kind of stuff kind of excites me because it tells me where people got mineral supplements. Well, Lon and I were changing planes in Texas back in July of '04, and there's an article about Bolivia finding new oil reserves and natural gas reserves. That didn't interest me so much, but the government was displacing the indigenous people for the money, of course. And there was this wonderful little picture and legend underneath the picture, which fascinated me. It says, Bruno Paza, this guy here, one of Bolivia's indigenous Amara Indians, holds a bowl of llama manure he's using to feed his cooking fire. You see his thumbs in that dirty bucket of llama manure. And you know it's cold in his little hut because he's got 5 shirts on and a sweatshirt and his parka's on, his ear flaps are down. He's got soot all over the inside of his hut. You can see all the ashes on his cooking pots. Not a very hygienic situation. No indoor plumbing, no electricity. There's absolutely no access to hospitals and clinics and doctors and pharmacies and pharmaceuticals and pharmacists. No private insurance, no government insurance. I mean, there is nothing there. You would not go to Bolivia and go where the Amara Indians live for health care. That would not be your first choice. When you look at the National Geographic reference series, the Amara Indians live in this little boot heel of Bolivia up against Lake Titicaca in the Andes Mountains, very close to northern Chile and southern Peru. In this area here, the people have more 100-year-olds at that time than any other persons on earth. They have 100-year-old per 500 population with nothing that we consider necessary for health care. They have 100-year-old per 500 population. We have 100-year-old per 10,000. They have 20 times the 100-year-olds we do. And their life sucks. And that's because they're putting plant minerals into their gardens and making their tortillas with wood ashes and animal manure ashes. Did Americans ever do that? Sure, crossing the prairie. Back in the old colonial days, starting with the first Virginia colonies, they put wood ashes in their gardens and mixed wood ashes in their food. Well, this all remained the same from the time of the Neanderthals, some 35 to 50,000 years ago, depending on which anthropologist you believe, until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882, everything changed. We know that because there was a newspaper report, there were pictures. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882, this guy came along, Thomas Edison, and his chief electrical technician turned on the switch for the first commercial electric generating plant on Pearl Street in New York City on a bluff overlooking the construction of the Brooklyn Bridge. That began to change everything. By 1909, there was no less than a dozen patented electrical kitchen appliances you could find in the Sears catalog. By 1950, in every town, in every industrialized nation, in every town and every city, everybody, all cultures in the world, had converted from wood as the universal fuel to electricity, natural gas, propane, kerosene, heating oils, liquid paraffin. And here comes the most profound health question you'll ever have. How many wood ashes are left over when you use electricity, propane, natural gas, kerosene, heating oils, and liquid paraffin for fuel? I'll give you a hint. It's a numeral that looks like this and begins with a Z. 0. And unless you are consciously supplementing with plant minerals, you're not going to get them. And you're going to shorten your life, and you're going to have all these horrible diseases that are directly attributed to mineral deficiencies. And that completes the circle. And so that's why we're so excited about plant minerals, because they're the missing piece. You take plant minerals, you take all the 90 essential nutrients, you're going to add 25 to 50 healthy years to your life. You don't do it, regardless of how rich you are, how smart you are, how much college you have, how many miles you run every day, you're going to die before 100. It's going to cost you in terms of misery and time and money. This came out February 2nd, 2007. The Nicoya Peninsula, Costa Rica, South America. If you like mystery, you're going to love this one. The most primitive people in the Western Hemisphere are the longest lived people on Earth now. Little people, 75,000 people. Their average lifespan is 90. For the 75,000 people or so who live in the Nicoya Peninsula, life proceeds much the way it has for hundreds of years. Now you're beginning to get a clue already. Life is going as it has for hundreds of years. The Nicoyans make their living as small farmers, laborers, or sabaneros, which are the cowboys who work in the area's huge cattle ranches. Judging by the dusty villages where neighbors hang out on porches, or the rural homes where women still cook on ancient wood-burning stoves, you'd never guess that the Nicoya is the longest-lived place in America, but actually the world. They're still using wood ashes in their tortillas. They're still putting wood ashes in their gardens. They don't have health care, for God's sakes. They're giving their bodies the basic raw materials, plant minerals. We recruited a world-class team of scientists and media to unravel the mystery as to why people here are living so long. And they're going to do genetics testing, and they're going to ask them how many times a day they take a pee, how many hours they sleep every day, and all that kind of crud, and they'll never put their finger on it. Oh, it's genetic. But I guarantee you, the Nicoyans, you take them as a kid, you bring them up here and let them eat like we do in Indiana, they'll live to be 75. You take people from Indiana if they're newborn, and you take them down to the Nicoya and let them eat like the Nicoyans do, they'll live to be 100. Because it's the plant minerals. They're giving them their health. It's not some healthcare system. It's not exercising every day. It's the plant minerals. This is Dr. Wallach with a final message. Information gives you the ability to make decisions with confidence. I hope you've enjoyed my message. By giving your body the proper raw materials every day, you'll be taking the necessary steps in living healthier and living longer. Make the decision to take control of your personal health and longevity program today. Minerals are not like antibiotics. You don't get a prescription which you use for 10 days and then you're done. Your prescription for minerals should only expire when your need for oxygen expires. You need to supplement your diet with essential nutrients each and every day of your life. Millions of people have heard my message all across the world and have now decided to make the consumption of minerals a daily ritual. Just as there are many manufacturers of aspirin, there are now many manufacturers of vitamins and mineral supplements. Be sure to get your liquid minerals derived only from the very best organic plant source deposits. Minerals are the mineral source our bodies were designed to use, not ground up rocks. Since you will most likely be supplementing your diet each and every day, don't get caught paying retail prices. My daddy always said, why pay retail when you can buy wholesale?
Information and statements regarding dietary supplements discussed have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.